Hello, it's lovely to have you join us on the show, Conversations. I'm actually wearing a smile, and in the real sense of it, I don't feel like wearing a smile. But then it says, in all things, we should be grateful, we should be thankful, which is why I also put on a smile. Where there is life, there is always hope. Why am I sounding melancholic? It is because every day we hear things that are unpleasant to the ear. Every day we lose people one way or the other due to some recklessness. Now, it is not the first time we're hearing about the G-boys, the ritual killings, the get well quick syndrome. We have actually at one point or the other mentioned these things or even discussed them today on this set. But then today it looks as if every day it's on the increase. We decided to revisit it, get rich quick syndrome among everyone, not just the young people, and then of course the ritual killings accompanying them. The stories are going viral. With me in the studio is a lawyer and a social analyst, but let me let them introduce themselves. From the lady.
Hey, it's good to be here. I'm Lynette Equine, and it's always a pleasure.
Right.
Good morning. My name is Barrister Ojile Abanatane. I'm a legal practitioner, a social human rights activist, and a public commentator.
All right. And I remember when we talked about landlord-tenant relationship,
Well, yeah.
you were there, educated me so much.
Thank you very much.
I also know that at the end of today, we'll pick up a lot of education from you as usual. And of course, yours sincerely, it's Elizabeth. Let's quickly look at the story of Naka. It happened recently, and my powerful team here, both Ada and Dairo, put this together for us. Let's see it.
The average person wants to be financially stable. Not a bad aspiration, but how extreme can we go to achieve this? For some, very extreme. This is the story of a young woman who was horribly a victim of those who chose to take these measures. On the 15th of May, Naka Leonard planned on attending the memorial of a friend who had recently passed away. She was traveling from Lagos to Port Harcourt by bus and unknowingly fell into the clutches of kidnappers. While passing through Owerri, she noticed there were men and women on the bus, and after some time, she felt a hand cover her face and she passed out. When she regained consciousness, she was tied up in a forest at night in the middle of nowhere. She had been abducted along with two other women from the bus. Out of fear, Neka started to scream,
"Help! Somebody help! Help! Somebody help!"
And 6 men appeared. They began to beat her up and stripped her naked.
Jago, come on, that girl clothes now, fast now. I always say do like this.
Come on your clothes, you know the
Come on, this girl clothes, I mean.
Come on your clothes.
Do it one, do sharp. No,
that's the time no day. Open that now, open that clothes now. Come on your bra. You know.
Oh, if you don't come on this guy, I will not tear your clothes.
Come on that clothes.
They mad me.
They Chris. Come on town.
They then told her to call her people. She managed to get in touch with her family, but tragically, this was not the case for two of the other women. 2 days later, the kidnappers informed her and the last woman that they had people who cared enough to pay their ransoms.
Omo, you get luck, say your people like you. I swear you get luck.
I swear,
you get luck.
So in the middle of the night, a man on a motorcycle came and carried the two women away. The man then left them alone on a deadly road. Because they appeared unkempt, as they had been beaten up and were naked, no one approached them except for one man who offered to help. This was how Neka Leonard's life was spared. Regrettably, this gruesome experience is not unusual, so it can affect anyone out there. Stay safe and always be aware of your environment.
All right, it's a sad story of Naka. If you're just joining us, the show is Conversation, and the studio, it's a bit of a graveyard because of what we just saw. It may have been a reenactment, but it happened. Neka herself told her story, and it's not the only person. On daily basis we see things like that happening. Maybe one or two of us here may have even had a personal experience of our loved ones who ran into them, probably successfully came out.
Yeah, I know
Or
someone.
you do.
I ran into her. We just happened to start talking, and she told me her story. It so happens that she's been abducted twice.
Are you serious?
Twice, and twice she escaped. She said the first time she was just waiting along the road, not too far from the Federal Secretariat, at about 4 p.m. And these guys just came like the normal, along that we have, and
5 p.m.
Yes,
So that means it
between 4 and
wasn't
5.
even
It
dark.
wasn't dark. It was bright. She had just closed from work, and then she just needed transportation home. She was going towards, I think she said, Nyanya axis. Now she entered the car, and the next thing she saw herself naked in a forest.
Oh no.
She told me this herself. I looked at this girl and she was like, that it's happened twice. She said it took her like a week to get out of the first one. And I looked at her and said, you're actually very brave.
How did she get out the first one?
She said that that this happened on the 31st of December, and people are going for crossover nights and all of that. They are beating her up. They took her somewhere here in Abuja. They crossed over some water, and they were in a deep forest. Now, she just lay quiet because she realized she couldn't fight them. So she lay quiet like she was, almost dead. And then one of them was saying, Baba need am fresh. I'm saying it as she said it. Baba need am fresh. She cannot die. She cannot die. So they were trying to get everything they could to make sure that she stayed alive. So they took her back on the boat to the other side. And all of this was happening. It was so dark, no light. And then when she realized she was on the other side, one was asked to watch her. And then the other two went to get medicine, so to speak. And after a while, I think that one went to pee or something. And then she figured this was her only chance to survive. Then she crawled away. So when she realized she was far, then she started running. And then at some point, she entered into a toilet of a house that she could see, face me, I face you kind of house. And she stayed there. She looked for help all over. Everywhere was dark, everywhere quiet because it was crossover night. Everyone had gone to church. So at about 4 a.m., she said between 3 and 4, someone came to use the toilet and saw her. I mean, imagine how she looked. Ruffled up, dirty, her wig was standing and all of that. So they thought she was a demon. And they started casting the blood of Jesus and then called others, you demon will kill you and all of that. And she said, no, she's not, please don't shout. If they see you, they'll take me. They'll take me because they are more than you. So she said there was this deep forest and they tied some children, tied adults, tied all kinds of people there. And it was just horrific. So as she kept saying this, I just wondered, like, this is terrible. I was thinking about her mental health, the fact that she could still narrate the story. And then the second time she said, I don't remember how she said it happened again, but she was asked to read a book, and there was a drop of blood on the book. And they said she should read it. Apparently she should have disappeared after reading it, but she stayed. But she said in her mind, she was just pleading the blood of Jesus. And when she stayed, the guys started insulting her, telling her she's a witch and all of that. And then they asked her to go. So I was shocked. I was in tears. And then that's how another one who was there said her boss went through the same thing. She went to do some kind of outreach somewhere in Kogi State. And on her way back, they dropped her back in Abuja, and she was waiting for her husband to come and pick her up. And then a car stops in front of her, and the next thing she wakes up tied to a tree in a forest. She said the men were tied with their hands up, in a standing position. I mean, you get weak, you can't fight. And then she said after a while they released her and then she was just lying down. And she found her way out. At some point she kept praying and then she crawled out of the bush. She just kept crawling until she crawled and saw some police officers. So they were the ones who rescued her. The good thing is her husband had reported her missing. But you know the bad thing, the trauma made her forget everything about herself. So she knew the area she lived, but she didn't know her house. She passed it like 5 times and she didn't know her house. All she kept saying was, I need to get home. I have a husband, I have children, I need to get home. You know, so the effect, the trauma and everything is terrible. It's really terrible. So I think that something needs to be done. Because it's getting more. It's on the rise.
It's on the increase.
It is.
Every day, one way or the other, it happens. But I obviously forgot to let you introduce yourself when you little bit deliberately sneaked in during the break, and maybe you tell us your name.
Okay, good morning. My name is Diwande.
Okay. It reminds me of the city in the Cameroon. One day. I know it's a Nigerian name. Thank you.
Back to our discussion. I say the truth of the matter is, as we sit there, as we're talking here, something similar to what we're talking about here is happening somewhere.
Exactly.
A painful reality is that these things are happening unchecked. Unfortunately, I had a similar experience. A lady who we stayed in the same where I was living before. She also stayed there. She had she worked in one of these sales outlets here in Abuja, and from her story, she said she boarded a vehicle to this area 1 roundabout, this big roundabout there, for her to get another vehicle going towards Nyanya Aziz, and a taxi just pulled over with some 2 guys and a driver. So, and usually this time of the day that people will always want to rush after close of work. She said she was lucky. Unfortunately, it has to be the other way around, that she herself and a guy entered the vehicle, and the person sitting in the vehicle before highlighted as if he was going away. So he now entered and he quickly came back and told these people that it told the other person that have taken his chance before, that he went to get water. So at that point, these people could not come out again. So the man sandwiched them in between the conspirators. So they drove, I think, for like 5 minutes, and they discovered they just take a different route. And she said, of course, she and the other passenger started raising alarm. Where are you taking us to? Before you know, they brought out a knife, stabbed her.
Jesus. Oh boy.
On her leg, and the other guy too. At that point, she said she knew they were in big trouble.
Okay.
And she just told them that they should please, this is her bag, this is all that she had. The other male guy with her also pleaded. Well, unfortunately, she said, she was bleeding. They never cared. All they were after is, where is your money, the ATM, handset, and all that. So they disposed her of everything. She said they took them round the town till midnight. All she knew was that the following day, she and the same guy, they woke up in one very thick, dark forest. She never knew where that place was. She said she never had an idea that they were even still in Abuja.
Yes.
So luckily for her,
there are thick, dark forests in Abuja.
Yes.
Yes.
I think this person mentioned
going towards
around Buhari or so.
Buhari, exactly.
That's what she said.
Buhari, the
Buhari
outskirts.
Area
Yes, outskirts of Abuja.
Yes, it's
very
yes, notorious kind of.
So at the end of the day, they were lucky. They released them after 3 days. She never knew where she was. She didn't even, because she said they released her before the guy, because they couldn't find much on the guy. They also decided to keep him. They dispossessed her, took her ATM card. They were withdrawing like every other minute. She was in the car there. You tell her, if you mess up this pin you're giving us, it doesn't work, you are finished.
Gone.
So they withdrew, I think, over 300,000 from her. Money that was not even hers in the first place.
Happens.
Yes. So at the end of the day, they left her. She said she was just wandering in the bush, and luckily for her, she got to an express, and She asked where is this place. They said it's around Kubwa Buari as is. So she was lucky. She explained her story to some people who cared to listen, and they took her before they brought her home. So it happens every day. Like I said, is something that the security agencies and government, parents, everybody, we need to be watchful.
True.
We need to be watchful.
True. You know, when you talk, I don't want to ask, is it really happening? Because it's very glaring. Yeah, I've also had experiences, people, friends, family members, kidnapped at one point or the other. At a particular point, actually, one was kidnapped, he never came back. So, but it happens. My own is, what do we do wrong to attract these things? If I pick up from the story you told, I also pick up from the one you told, and of course the story of Naka we watched. One thing was running through. They took cabs in unauthorized places along. But I know that it's also not easy to find cabs in certain area. If I work in a place, that's where I think maybe office relationship is important. In our place, they say you cannot exist alone. You're not an island. So if I work in NTA, for instance, or FCDA, or wherever I work, there are other people who work around there. If everybody who is going towards probably Buari that works in NTA do not have a car for us to use, then we can all agree on a price to contribute, get a cab together. So we all go together at a certain time if our closing hours are the same. So we agree at a particular time. Am I making sense?
Yeah, very well.
If the
Very
closing
well.
time is the same, there are times that I would need to stay back and do something, or somebody has to go early. So if the timing is not the same, there is no way we all can decide to go together.
But if you have a dialogue, a discussion around it,
and
at
then
least
work out something.
90% of the time you can all meet up and go. The other 10%, there could be a way of
Some
augmenting
differences,
it.
yes.
Maybe joining the office buses or something if there is available, you use it. The same thing if you live in a compound, if you know your neighbors and you relate well with them. I know sometimes I'm going to work. I've also done it to other people. Somebody says, are you going down this way tomorrow? Please, I'd like to join you. My car is not functional. And I remember and tell you, I'm going to leave by 8. I'm going to leave by 7. And then at that time, you're ready, I drop you off. Even if it's like 1 hour before my own time, I could get to office and while away that 1 hour, provided my security is ensured. So, but another thing I noticed, I actually had this debate with some young people yesterday. Says, I go to a place and I want to go out. My auntie says you can't go out until you have clearance from your parents. I said your auntie is very correct.
Yes.
If I send my child on a vacation in my sister's place, and she says, okay, I want to go and visit my ABCD friends in that same city, and I don't know about it, my sister didn't discuss it with me, just because you say, auntie, I'm coming, you move out. Then I would just tell myself my child cannot go to that house again because that person is not security conscious. When you're moving, not only you will tell me where you're going to, because times are not the same anymore.
Exactly.
When you get to that place, you also need to call me.
Let me know.
I get into a cab, the Bolt or Uber, and when I go in, I share my ETA to people.
Everyone.
People that I know. And sometimes I even make effort to tell you, could you just keep track? So see where I'm going. I remember the other time I was going and the police stopped us to check the papers of a guy. The police stopped us and didn't come to attend to us immediately. One of the persons I gave my location and movement now called. Why are you stand still? I'm watching you. Your car is not moving. You've been stationary for 10 minutes. I said, yes, this is what is happening. That's a way of keeping an eye on you.
Yes.
So if we get to do that, we, prevent some of these things better. And some people will tell you it's more expensive. I actually think the answer is not true.
It's safer.
It's not true.
Compared to your security, it's not.
Your life is priceless.
Yes.
Apart from even that, just yesterday, I told 2 young people to take Uber, you know, to the airport. They told me it was going to be expensive from wherever they were. It wasn't in Abuja. So I said, okay. Before I knew, they had already taken regular taxi, they shared location with me, but I couldn't track the movement. With Bolt or the other one, I could actually track the movement. So I said, why are you not giving me the movement stuff? Why are you giving me location? He said, the other one is expensive. How much? He said, when you order them, it tells you 1.5. But when they come in, they tell you 2.5.
Sometimes.
You know, that times are hard. I said, okay, at the end of the day, how much have you saved compared to your security? By the time they got down to the place, guess what? The registered person was asking for 2.5. This unregistered person asked them for 2.8.
Imagine that.
So they actually spent more and took security risk.
Exactly.
So it's important to get education. Sometimes we're trying to save money and we find out that we didn't save anything.
Exactly. You probably
if you're
lose more.
traveling, you go to a regular park, you will find out that you pay a regularized fee.
Yes.
And your security is also not just security by social security, security by car, the type of car. If the tire is not good, they won't let it go. You know, it's always important. You know, so I don't know. I don't know. What's your own experience like?
Okay, the experience I had was when I was in school. I actually went out from school with my friends to go and get something. And on our way back, we entered this normal one chance. It was in Ife. We entered one chance. They collected our phones, even the fish I bought. I forgot it in the bus. We were just 6. They collected everything, and it was scary. I was very, very scared. Since then, I'm always very conscious. I don't go out late. I mind where I'm going out with and all, because there are times that even your friends can plan this for you.
You're very correct.
And we need to tell the younger ones, too, especially the ones that are in school, because you are always like, my friend is having a party. You don't know what is going on.
Exactly.
You don't know what the friend had planned.
Exactly.
So these are the things we need to tell them.
It's important because not just friend. Back when kidnap started early, I heard a story of a wife who was actually a nursing mother.
Okay.
You know, the baby was 1 year plus, who kidnapped herself.
How?
Excuse me?
She kidnapped herself.
So that the ransom could be paid to her?
So that the ransom could be paid to her. But she got a man, a young boy or a young man, to do the calls, you know, to her husband. And she was in a hotel. She said the husband is stingy. So she
that was
kidnapped.
the best way out.
And for her, that was the best way out.
Come on.
You know?
Think of the
So she
stress,
kidnapped
that's
herself
terrible.
and her son. And the husband was running helter-skelter.
Looking for
And she
money.
was in the hotel feeling cool until the ransom was paid.
Terrible.
1 million naira. So she now took 200 and gave to the young man. The man said no.
That's where the
It's
problem
50-50.
always comes.
So that's how the story spilled, you know. So nobody at this point is to be trusted, like you said. Nobody should be trusted, because I apart from even the kidnap thing, people sometimes arrange parties. They're your friends. You're doing well, which is why I say social media, we have to curtail what we post.
Exactly.
You're doing well, you're a grade A student, your parents are taking care of you, blah, blah, blah. You think people who are smiling at you are all your friends?
No, no,
We're
no,
not.
no, no,
In
no.
Igbo,
No.
we say, Ochabo, or laughter is not friendship.
Exactly.
You know? So you expose yourself to them. Sometimes we actually do those things in sympathy. I don't attend sympathy parties. I don't do friendship on sympathy. You know, let me just go so that he will not be happy with me. If your mind is not clear on that, don't go.
Simple.
And if you're even going, carry your own drink. Students, carton drinks are the worst.
They just inject it.
You open it, you think it's sealed.
Corroborating what Yewande said, as regards family members also participating in this thing. In the course of my work as a legal practitioner, I've witnessed firsthand cases like this in court. Some are even close relations, as close as cousins, as close as
Brothers.
uncles, because they usually say, okay, maybe the parents of the victim are stingy, or I asked them for one favor or the other, they refuse. It's a pathetic incident that happened in Kaduna recently of a serving military officer, a soldier, who kidnapped, in conjunction with the nephew of the victim, kidnapped this little boy. It happened about 2-3 weeks up to a month now in Kaduna.
Wow.
They kidnapped this boy. They paid ransom at the end of the day. Unfortunately, the little boy was able to recognize his
Somebody's
uncle.
voice.
Yes, you know, they killed this boy.
Child.
Yes, about a month ago.
Oh,
They
boy.
killed this boy.
Oh, boy.
His uncle orchestrated his kidnap.
Oh, dear.
Child.
Yes. So, like we say, they happen every day. Come to court. You see, we've not even seen anything. We've not heard anything. You hear some stories and you just wonder, how did we get here? How did we get here?
That's the
hard.
question.
How did we get here?
And why is it that
We're not
nothing
used
is being
to
done?
this kind of things before. We've not had it 15, 20 years ago, at least between 1999 and better part of 2009, 2010. As we speak, unfortunately, just last Friday, a similar incident happened around Abuja, between Jere and Kateri. It happened. These guys came out from the bush, stopped a number of vehicles, kidnapped people, and just went away.
And nothing is done.
2 days ago, in Niger State, similar thing. Over 300 and something, 200 and something Islamia students were picked.
You know,
The bottom line is this. It has gotten to a stage that they now see this thing as
normal.
as business, as normal.
Acceptable.
Right? And I will tell you that whatever happened, there is usually not
Someone
an insider
who
knows the terrain, who knows the activities of what is happening within a family. In corroborating what you also said, it is high time we limit to a very large extent what we post on social media.
Exactly.
You won't know when you'll be giving information about your family away. You won't know when you'll be giving away information about your children. You won't know when you'll be giving away vital information as to where you work, what you do.
Okay, so let's quickly take a break. This particular one will hit you like thunder. When we come back, we'll continue this discussion. Don't go away.
After they said my people should pay some ransom, they touched my breast. They say you don't born. Go this side, say you know they of no use. Say then they find people who never born. Then they slaughter them. People when they kill like 7 people for my present with my koro eye. And so they cry. I say, God, my pikin, God, wetin I wan tell people? My people no know where are they. The next thing, they take my naked photo. They send them to my people. They say my people should pay ransom of 3 million naira. We no get the money. And so we beg. Now so friends from different angle come they help. They provide. Now so they take gather. The little one where they gather. Beg them with God. I beg them, cry. People they die. Even one lady where they sick asthma. She die on top of my leg. Then throw her inside the pit bar. Then they put people, cut people. People they select how much with this part, then they buy, they go. Mona do something. Nigerians, I beg, we they die for River State. Then they keep people for River State, mini bus, tinted bus. Where they go, those keke tinted bus, where they go, all of them, they are risky. Please, Facebook friends. I saw somebody wey come meet me for there. She said she find person from Lagos, come that place. I say, wetin you come do for that place? You no see man for Lagos, you find man oh come here.
It's a sad one. It's a sad one. I really don't know how to handle it. But I believe that if we're conscious, just as she advised, we'll be able to surmount all things, do the right thing. But somebody wrote in here, it says, good morning, my name is Ike Taku Chubogo, okay. You people are treating a good topic in the studio. This one chance issue is very rampant in Abuja, especially around Kubwa, Zuba axis, Area 1, Jabi. Our security personnel should do more on this issue, please, and I hope they are listening. The areas again, as it listed here, is Kubwa, Zuba axis, Area 1, Jabi. And your suggestion about colleagues boarding a car is very good because days are evil. We don't know who is who again. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chibu. And let's continue. I don't know. You talked about social media, and it got me thinking. Somebody once told me when I tried to correct her, you don't post things about yourself anyhow. She said, well, I'm always very careful. I know how to protect myself. I said, you can protect yourself. Can you protect your mother? Can you protect your family?
Exactly.
You know, because you may not be within the reach.
But
your
them.
people that are
And then
close
just
to you.
because you're doing well, they expect you to liberate them.
Exactly.
Yes. So
They're not kidnapping you for you. They are kidnapping you for the money that your family member will gather.
Simple.
You know, so you must always take cognizance of the fact that whatever you do, you're leaking out to your family the wrong way. All right?
And even apart from that, another thing I've noticed is the kind of life people live on social media exposes them, because most of the things some people post, they are not true. But then you're trying to feel among, you're trying to show what you don't have, and then people come after you and you put everybody in trouble. I think that should be checked too.
And then we've also had incidences of how people get law through Facebook. We had recently this case that happened in Cross River.
Yes, I think.
What was this lady's name? I've forgotten. Who
There are
had
so many.
job interview were advertised,
Yes.
and she went, and at the end of the day,
Yes.
she lost her life.
Yes.
Thank God for her. Even despite the precautionary measures she took, because as she was going, she was sharing her location with her close friend and all that. That was how they were even able to trace what happened or where was her last contact. And of course, thank God, with the sophistication of internet, they were able to get the guy arrested. But what we're saying is this: I've also experienced this where people meet on Facebook. Before you know, they start interacting. They want to know themselves better, and you see one of them traveling. Usually, women. Traveling from one far location to the other, without carrying out your due diligence, without carrying out your investigation. Sometimes these are people you meet barely 2-3 weeks, a month, 2 months max.
Even if it's 1 year.
Even if it's 1 year.
Exactly.
My advice that I usually give is this: you don't know where you may eventually meet your partner, but if that is the case, it's our culture. Let the man do the chasing. Let him calm down. Right? Let it not be the other way around.
These days they tell you that if you're waiting for a man to do the chasing, then you're old school. That this is the 21st
The old school
century.
is more secure now. I better be an old school.
works.
So there are times that we even have it that the women on social media, they are not women. Some men are actually using pictures.
Exactly.
So we need to be very careful.
Well, I remain a traditional woman any day, anytime. I'm not chasing her.
Look for me.
Anyway, going back to this thing, I still think it's a bit because we've lost values.
Yes.
If our values are still right, if we parents are still doing the right thing, definitely our children will not go the wrong way. Growing up, I remember when I wanted to buy a particular thing, I went to my dad. I said, I needed to do this. And he looked at me. He said, do you think to obtain this is to wear trousers and be moving around? I said, but I saved money for it. He said, how much? I told him. He said, I need to see your bank accounts and your transactions and how you got that money. That's the kind of family I grew up in.
My parents.
I went with him, then Afribanco, and he looked at everything before he gave me approval. How many of our parents, will look at your child brings a Ferrari
iPhone.
today?
Yes.
brings a iPhone 20x,
Yes,
whatever,
yes.
you know, today, gives you, it's your birthday, mommy make you $1 cake, and you're happy. My son, my daughter,
And don't
At
ask
the
where
end of
these
the
things are coming
day,
from.
you do not know that you're eating cake made of another person's blood.
It's true.
You do not know you're driving a car bought with another person's blood. And then tomorrow, you ask God for forgiveness. It doesn't work. You know, if we begin to ask, my son, before I enter this car, I want to know how you started. Is it not you that started work the other day? How much is your salary? You have your monthly expenditure.
I give my parents kudos for that.
When did you leave school that you can afford a 10 million naira car?
Yes.
I will not drive it. If we parents begin to do that, things could turn around. We complain. Government is not doing this. Government is not doing that. Our
But
own
what's
little part in
happening
our
in the
homes.
home? Yes.
Are we doing it?
No. There are people who expect, I know, I had a roommate in university who told me at some point that she needed to get married, like fast. And I was wondering, why? What's the problem? You're just two, a girl and a boy. Why do you want to leave home so quickly? And she said her mom has given her an ultimatum to either find a man who will marry her or leave the house.
That is the problem.
So she had to go after the person that she's married to till today. I want to believe it's working for her, but I just feel, I could be wrong, I don't know. I feel like it's a man's place to do the chasing. Where a woman does the chasing, you end up living a little below your self-esteem at the end of the day. Because something comes up, you remember that after all, you chased me so hard, otherwise I would have married you. That should hurt. But in a situation where he did all the chasing, you put him through all kinds of tests and all of that, he'll value you more. As against if you just set out yourself there, you know, maybe as enthusiastic. So I think we need to return to certain values and actually work on our mentality and self-esteem, because I think a lot of that has been lost. So people will do anything just to fit or belong, as you rightly said. It's not the best way.
You see, I want to start my own discussion on the premise of the biblical scripture. You see, the Bible, Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6, states it explicitly that you should train up a child in the way he should go. So that when that child is old, he will not depart from it. It's a biblical injunction, and the Bible is true.
It is.
I will give you a good example. Growing up, well, my mom, she's watching, she said, I'm one of the child that gave her trouble growing up. But there are some things, irrespective of the fact that, yes, we're all well taken care of, thanks to my dad, he did excellently well. I can't come back home with somebody else's pencil, and my mom won't ask me.
Exactly, same here.
She will put me forward and say, let's go back to that school.
Same here.
So, what I'm saying is that these values are no longer there. I will heap the blame 80% on the parents. Put these children right. If you put them right now, I am telling you, you will have a peaceful old age.
That's true.
But if you don't, you won't even get to that age.
That's true.
It's honest.
You won't get to that age
Yep.
because they'll bring you troubles, they'll bring you problems that you just be wondering, where is all this coming from? What have I done wrong?
You know,
But it is there from the beginning. If you let's say for instance, this phone is here, and if you instructed a child not to touch it, if that child touches it, see, we're Nigerians, we're Africans. Discipline is part of our culture.
That's it.
Don't say no, you don't beat him, he's just a kid. No.
Spare the rod and spoil the
Exactly.
child.
Exactly. Inculcate the right values now. Tell them, if you do that, I bet you the next 15 years, those values will still be in them.
That's true.
I went to secondary school. Throughout, I was in the boarding house. We had, during my time, of course, we had a student that are cultists and all that. it never occurred to me. I have never had the appeal to even want to know
Be
what
part of
they are
them,
doing.
Exactly.
Because I know where I'm coming from. You go back home, they will see, let's assume I even go and join. And maybe I have all these marks on my body. My mom will ask me, my parents will ask me, where is the, you dare not do it.
Well,
Seriously,
apart
you
from
dare
the
not do it.
parents, I think the society too has a lot. Like you see Christian, at least I remember when I was growing up, my parents being pastors, they played their role. But then I also had friends that would all leave school, would go to school together, we go to church together, and they have extra clothes in their bags that they would go out. And in their parents' mind, they actually went to church or we went for lessons. So it is not about parental influence alone. The society also matters. Look, and some other things that we see on TV stations, that we see in programs, that we see on social media.
It matters
all
what
these
you
things,
feed your minds
yes,
with.
all these things are influential. It is not about the parental factor alone.
It's not only that.
It
Yeah,
is
that's
not
why
the
he said
parental factor
80%.
Oh, yeah, that's
So,
why he
yeah.
gave him 80%. I guess your 80% came from the fact that the formative age
Ages.
of children,
Yes.
the impressionable age of children, which is the adolescent age,
Yes.
they are still very, if you, that formative age, if you're able to make your children your friend,
Yes.
you have conquered them.
A lot.
Yes.
You know,
Because
to
they can
a
tell
very
you a
great
lot.
And the
extent.
society will have
Then
less
when
work
they
to
get
do.
that impressional age, you also try to, find a way of having communication and finding time. Money is not everything. That's what I tell people. There are people that go home, they carry work to their house. Their children are talking to them, especially the women. They're saying, wait, my boss is calling me. Their children are talking to them. They say, wait, I have to, have you done this? Have you submitted that? I have documents. My dear, if you don't listen to that child, he's going to talk to somebody else.
Exactly.
And that person gets the negative impression, which is going to build on. But always ensure when you go home, you shut down work. And especially the
Yes, and
homemakers,
teach them.
that's the women.
Yes, teach them
Pay
some
attention
value.
to your family. Listen to their rubbish.
Yes.
And correct it.
You know a funny thing? This morning, my 12-year-old son, soon to be 13 by God's grace, was telling me, Mom, do you know what? There's a guy in my school, his name is Dominion. He's very intelligent, but all he knows how to do is play outside of his studies. And I was like, that sounds interesting. So I said, okay, keep going. And he said, the teacher asked, who washes plates, who does chores and all of that. All of us raised up our hands except Dominion. And I said, okay, sounds interesting, keep going. And he said, you know what? I said, no. The teacher later asked if we could cook. And she was surprised that I could cook. She didn't believe it. And I said, really? So, has mommy done something good? Does mommy deserve a thank you? Or do you want to keep grumbling? I said, thanks, Mom. I said, oh, nice. So now you understand that a lot of the things I was teaching you is because I want you to be the best of who you can be. Not because I don't love you, not because I don't want you to play computer games. You're excellent at it. Most of the times, you're way ahead ahead of your mates. But that's not all about life. If you don't know how to do chores, some woman may just mesmerize your life because you don't know how to do chores. But then if you can, then you add value to your home. Can't you see that Grandpa can still cook? He used to bath us when we're abroad and take us to school when Mom has gone to work. And vice versa. So I don't want you to be a man that is just purely African who doesn't do anything. No.
When you
need
even
to
say
help
African, I
around.
still question that thing because
Well, that's their
back in the
mentality.
days, African man did a whole lot, to assist their wives.
Yes.
And their wives didn't go to work. They just sat down. They did the
They
light
housewives.
jobs. And
Yes.
the men did it. Now, African man, me and you will go to work. And you come back and watch TV, I enter kitchen. Error you. Let's take a break.
In my house, we may look alike, but we are very different individuals. Everybody believes their way is best. That's why Golden Penny Pasta is our favorite meal.
Golden Penny Pasta, made with durum wheat, is tasty, nutritious, a source of protein and fiber, and non-sticky. So you can cook, serve, and eat your pasta just the way you like it with Golden Penny Pasta. Your way is best.
Bye. Bye.
Don't worry, dear. I'll take care of it. How do you manage to keep your fabric so white? Wow! And how do you manage to keep your house this clean?
I always use Hypo to make our white clothes whiter and to keep our home clean and germ-free.
Make your white fabrics whiter and your home free of illness causing viruses and germs with the disinfecting power of Hypo Bleach.
Help make nights rest-filled by keeping baby's bum dry all night with Huggies Dry Comfort. With our stretchy waistband and super absorbent core, Huggies Dry Comfort provides all-night dryness and comfort to make nighttime rest-filled for baby and you. Huggies for all-night dryness and comfort. Help make nights rest-filled by keeping baby's bum dry all night with Huggies Dry Comfort. With our stretchy waistband and super absorbent core, Huggies Dry Comfort provides all-night dryness and comfort to make nighttime rest-filled for baby and you. Huggies for all-night dryness and comfort.
All right, it's still conversation, and we want to interact with our friends out there who cannot come into the studio at the moment but are sharing their views here. Good morning, my name is Judith. I really appreciate this program. I really like the aspect you spoke about, which was the issue of norms and value. In fact, I think that should be a core topic. Thank you. Norms and value, core topic. And Judith, maybe you come in and join us in the studio. People should be very careful when boarding cabs along the road. Government should also help us along airport junction by Giri, then to Zubwa, Madala, Kaduna Road to Kotel One Chance Syndicates. Last Monday, the 24th of May, two One Chance members, a make and an elderly female, were burnt along Madala Market, and the rest was lucky to escape. No place is safe. Ebele, okay, from Madala. Thank you very much. And the other one says, please, parents and society should teach real values. True. Also, our security should also look at people's behavior at times. That's Festus writing. My name is Daniel. Please let the government help us in Bini Ore Road. It's very bad. True. I already had that complaint in one other program, and it said, good morning all, I am Brother Divine from Umahia, Abia State. Please, this topic is very interesting. Please, a shout and serious prayer need to be made as you enter immediately. Call the name of Jesus Christ, and then of course the rest you already know. And I am Mazi Eugene Nwosu. Mazi, this your letter is long ago. I don't know how to read all of it, but then let's see. Legislate effective laws, enforceable laws that will not be compromised. How much will it cost Nigeria to consider installation of CCTV cameras in certain environments? I was actually thinking about this, and you will speak on it for us, because if we have cameras on the road, some of these things will be curtailed. Good morning, my name is Isaac. People can be careful like you advise, but I think it's time government section out some parts of armed forces to focus strictly on this kidnapping issue in order to douse the uprising kidnapping flame. And I am Patrick. This topic is highly interesting. It's high time Nigerians seek spiritual power to avert all this menace. Okay, maybe I think that means we should pray. My name is Sarah. This issue is educative. Well done. Thank you, Sarah. And let's probably take this one again. Good morning. Those complaining of One Chance should stop boarding unpainted taxi. They should patronize the painted ones. From Shehu, president of painted taxi. Okay, I was just going to say, yes, this person must be a driver of a painted taxi. So, but he is telling us that we should go with the recognized taxi, which is the painted one. Thank you, Shehu. But I must also say that I actually have a colleague who entered painted taxi early hours of the morning and they try to snatch her bag in the same place. We should just be careful with along. That's what I think generally. There are ways out. And offices that can provide succor for their people should be able to get that done. But I was thinking, you are a barrister. What's your take on, if we find a kidnapper and I get to arrest him, by the time we interact with him a little bit, I find out that he's pretty close to his family. Should I not arrest his parents or his siblings? Because they must know.
You see,
especially if it's done within his family house.
No, you see, the truth of the matter is this. Legally speaking, where one commits an offense, you don't transfer liability. You don't take it on his family.
Okay.
You hold the culprit himself, except if you can establish that the family also played a role, either through conspiracy or accessory after the crime, maybe giving him a hiding place after. That is where they can come in, not just the family, but any other person who may have assisted. But the person that is caught face the music squarely.
Okay, thank you. Our time is almost up. Let me take your final words.
Well, for me, I feel like you can't be too careful. That's the truth. And secrecy, I think, should be adopted when it comes to your personal life. Showing off and making people know everything that you have is not the best. You put others in danger. And then on the other side, we need to be transparent with each other as families. Okay. I think that will do a lot in helping us.
All right.
Okay, I would just encourage parents to be more careful and spend some more time with their children. Get to know your children, get to know their friends, get to know the places they go to. We cannot be too careful, like she said.
All right, thank you very much. Without much ado about nothing, I'll just end in the words of Kiss Daniel in his song Pack and Go. If you're a man and you buy your girl kose, which is akara, and he says he wants shawarma, please let her pack and go. You don't need to kidnap. You don't need to do rituals to make anybody happy. Thank you. See you again next week.